those relationships can be extremely powerful for you if you know how to use them. But so many young women, and especially young women of color, not only do they not have access to the relationships, but they don't even know that that's how the game is played.
Career-wise, what were your struggles?
I think that the thing I struggled with was confidence, feeling like a bit of a fish out of water in a world that I realized when I got into it was very much not set up for people like me. You know, when I was in my first newsroom, I was often one of only one, maybe two Black women in the entire organization. And political journalism is not friendly, or it historically has not been friendly to women, and particularly Black women. I think that I needed to figure out how to navigate that, and I was 21 years old. And it was very difficult, and I did not have a lot of self-confidence because I had come into journalism, frankly, what I considered to be late, because so many of my peers had known since they were 14 that they wanted to be a journalist, and I just kind of stumbled into it as a sophomore in college. And so, and I didn't, I didn't think I was that great of a writer. I just had to kind of like build myself up. And that first job, I think I did the best that I could do, and I think I did pretty well. But I also had to figure out what a lot of young people have to figure out, which is navigating personalities in your workplace, navigating the fact that there were people who were very important in the organization who mentored certain people, and I was not one of them. And so not being one of the sort of chosen people to kind of be given a helping hand or given opportunities, it was really isolating to me. And frankly, I mean, I think a lot of women experience that, where they don't get to be the pet,
Across all industries.
Across all industries,
yeah. Something quite consistent. I think that is something I did want to drill down on, is in what ways were you feeling that it was hard based on gender, based on the color of your skin? Was it your peers? Was it like, people you were trying to cover? Where were you feeling that?
I think that I'll say it's twofold. One, I mean, I'll put some of this on me because I was young, and this is like kind of a personality trait that I still frankly deal with. But I am the type that I'm just gonna put my head down and just do the thing. And frankly, maybe a lot of women are like that. We just kind of like do the work. And I didn't realize how important it was to ask for help, to sort of reach out to people around me for mentorship, for support, for sponsorship. That concept of developing and cultivating sponsors in the workplace I hadn't figured out yet. And so I think that part is on me. But I also think the other part that I observed around me were that there were people being sponsored who were my peers, by being sponsored by sort of the powers that be, let's call them. And I saw how powerful that was for their careers and for their trajectories. And I saw the impact of not having that. And it was very apparent to me that, sometimes when people don't feel like they have a connection to you, that they can't relate to you, they don't feel like they can relate to you. They don't see themselves in you. They don't see your potential. And I definitely think that I experienced that early in my career.
There's so much impact. It's so many things. I think it's unfair to blame yourself. So I'll start by saying that we all entered the workforce at a time where this is a common occurrence and experience for young women. I think that it still happens today, but there's so much more access to information and awareness and conversation happening at a time where I think our generation has some influence and has an understanding of those setbacks that take place. and we have a mindset of all boats rise with the tide because we recognize that the experience that we had younger in our career was because the generation above us was raised in a scarcity mindset. And there were fewer of our moms that worked. You had a mom who did participate in the workforce, so I think that probably was informative for you. But a lot of my friends, and I think this was more common, we had stay-at-home moms. Not to say that didn't shape who I am as a human, but I think more women are in the workforce now. But there are so many factors working against us, and we've all come up in a patriarchy where we have learned how to blend in, do the work, not raise our hand, not be disruptive.
And also there's a myth to it that it's all just about hard work and doing well.
Yes.
And I'll just be honest, like that myth I bought into that because prior to that moment, you know, I thought to myself, okay, I just worked really hard in high school, and I worked really hard in college, and I graduated, and I got to this point. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to work really hard at this job. And I did, but it wasn't enough. And I think if I had known then what I know now, I would have totally shifted my mindset and realized that actually it is those relationships. Those relationships can be extremely powerful for you if you know how to use them. But so many young women, and especially young women of color, not only do they not have access to the relationships, but they don't even know that that's how the game is played. And so we are a little bit behind the 8 ball on this one because I think there's not as many people to teach us that. And also we have been sold a lie, which is that it's a meritocracy and it's all about hard work. And honestly, sometimes it's also about whether they like you. It's about whether they see themselves in you. It's about whether you make them feel wanted and needed and all of that. And figuring out how, as a subordinate, to do those things is a skill.
Yes.
It is as much of a skill as the practical work that you are doing. And so there is so much for young women of color to learn in, do your work, be useful, all those things, but figure out how to build relationships in your workplace and figure out how to do it strategically, not from a position of weakness, but from a position of strength where you know what the end result is. And it took me years to figure that out. But I did eventually. And once I figured it out, that was like rocket fuel for my career.